If horror movies needed a jungle villain, they wouldn't have to invent one. The Amazonian giant centipede already exists, and it's every bit as unsettling as it sounds. Growing up to 14 inches long and moving with disturbing speed, this creature hunts in ways that feel straight out of science fiction. Its legs don't just help it run. They grip, twist, and pin down prey. Its body is armored, flexible, and eerily quiet. The color varies shades of red, brown, or black, depending on where it's found, but the menace stays the same. And those massive front pincers? Not just for show, they inject venom capable of shutting down the nervous systems of animals many times the centipede's size. It's an ambush predator with a menu that includes frogs, insects, lizards, and even birds. Yes, birds. There are confirmed cases of these centipedes climbing into trees, wrapping themselves around roosting birds, and delivering a venomous bite before devouring them slowly. Humans aren't on the menu, but encounters can still go wrong. A bite causes intense pain, swelling, nausea, and in rare cases, more severe reactions. Luckily, these creatures don't attack unprovoked. They're shy and prefer to hide under rocks, logs, or leaf litter, but step too close and they'll rear up, expose their fangs, and strike without warning. What makes them even more unsettling is their durability. These centipedes are survivors. They've adapted to everything the rainforest throws at them: floods, heat, competition, and they're fast learners. Their hunting tactics shift depending on the terrain and prey. They'll burrow underground to surprise lizards, climb trees to catch bats, slip into shallow water to hunt tadpoles. In the web of Amazon predators, the giant centipede might not be the biggest or the loudest, but it's one of the most relentless. Watching one in action is like seeing a creature from another world, moving with purpose, precision, and absolutely no mercy. You might never see it coming: a small black ant no longer than a paperclip, crawling through the undergrowth. But if you make the mistake of stepping on a bullet ant's turf, you'll remember it forever. Found across the Amazon's rainforests, the bullet ant delivers what scientists rank as the most painful insect sting in the world. Some call it nature's taser, others compare it to getting shot, which is where it gets its name. The pain isn't just sharp, it's all-consuming. A burning, throbbing agony that radiates through the entire limb and can last for over 24 hours. Victims report being unable to hold objects, walk, or even speak properly. There's no venom that kills, no paralysis, just pain, pure and overwhelming. Despite their fearsome reputation, bullet ants aren't aggressive unless provoked. They live in colonies near tree bases and are fiercely protective. Get too close and they'll sound the alarm not with sound, but with pheromones that rally dozens more. One sting is bad. A swarm? That's a nightmare. Local tribes in Brazil even use bullet ants in traditional initiation rituals. Young warriors place their hands into gloves woven with dozens of ants. It's a test of endurance, strength, and mental control, a rite that leaves no one unchanged. But bullet ants are more than just a terrifying footnote in the Amazon's ecosystem. Their venom, called ponerotoxin, has attracted the attention of researchers looking for new ways to block pain signals and understand nerve pathways. As always, the rainforest hides solutions behind its most dangerous species. They don't build towering nests or run across paths in armies. They're hidden, waiting, tucked under leaves or crawling across tree trunks. And if you brush up against one, the moment you feel the sting, you'll know exactly what hit you. This spider doesn't wait for trouble, it charges straight at it. The Sydney funnelweb is not only one of the world's most venomous spiders, it's also one of the boldest. Native to Australia's eastern coast, this thick black spider prefers to fight rather than flee. And when it bites, it means it. Its fangs are strong enough to pierce fingernails or even soft shoes. But what's more concerning is the venom. It contains a compound that targets the human nervous system directly, causing symptoms like twitching muscles, breathing issues, and in some cases, serious neurological disruption. And it acts fast in severe cases. Symptoms can appear in minutes. What sets the Sydney funnelweb apart is that its venom affects humans much more strongly than most other animals. Dogs, cats, and birds aren't nearly as vulnerable. That's led researchers to wonder, why are we such sensitive targets? Some scientists believe it's just a fluke of chemistry, one that's still not fully understood. These spiders live in burrows, often hidden under rocks, leaf litter, or garden debris. During rainy weather, they sometimes venture into homes, garages, or sheds, which is why locals know to shake out boots and check shoes before putting them on. Fortunately, an anti-venom exists and has been incredibly successful. Since it became available, there hasn't been a single confirmed fatality a true scientific win. But that doesn't make the spider less terrifying when it raises its legs and charges with fangs bared. If a creature from a horror video game ever came to life, this would be it, armored, fast, and designed to hit hard. It may look like something you'd flick off your boot, but the Deathstalker scorpion is one of the most venomous arachnids on the planet. Found across desert regions of North Africa and the Middle East, this scorpion doesn't grow much larger than your index finger, yet its sting carries a toxin that can overwhelm the nervous system in minutes. Its venom is a complex mix of neurotoxins that cause extreme pain, muscle spasms, and in vulnerable individuals, serious medical complications. What makes the Deathstalker so dangerous is not just the power of its venom, but how frequently it comes into contact with people. It often hides in cracks, shoes, and under rocks, perfectly camouflaged by its yellowish body. Despite the risks, this scorpion's venom has drawn intense scientific interest. Components of it are being studied for use in cancer research and brain imaging, especially because some parts of the venom can target specific cells with incredible precision. That dual nature, deadly and medically promising, makes it one of the most researched arachnids in the world. Unlike larger, more intimidating scorpions, the Deathstalker relies on speed and surprise. It's a hit-and-run expert. One quick jab with the stinger and it's gone, leaving the victim scrambling to process what just happened. If this were a character in a spy thriller, it'd be the one carrying the smallest weapon, but with the most explosive result. The Komodo dragon doesn't breathe fire, but it might as well. This massive lizard, growing over 10 feet long and weighing more than 300 pounds, is not only the world's largest living reptile, but one of its most efficient predators. Found only on a few Indonesian islands, including Komodo, this animal has developed a hunting style that borders on myth. For years, people believed its bite was deadly due to bacteria in its mouth, but researchers have since discovered the real culprit: venom. The Komodo dragon's bite delivers a mix of toxins that lower blood pressure, thin the blood, and prevent clotting, essentially causing its prey to bleed out from the inside. Once bitten, an animal becomes weak, dizzy, and unable to run far. That's when the dragon slowly moves in. It doesn't rush. It doesn't need to. The venom does the hard work. This method allows the Komodo to take down prey much larger than itself, including deer, boar, and even water buffalo. Its jaw isn't built to chew, it's built to rip. The Komodo tears flesh and swallows chunks whole, sometimes consuming up to 80% of its body weight in one meal. Its sense of smell is so sharp, it can detect a dying animal from miles away. This creature is prehistoric in every sense armored scales. A tongue that flicks like a monitor screen glitch, and movements that combine brute force with calculation. It's not just a reptile, it's a throwback to a time when everything was bigger, stronger, and built to dominate. At the size of a fingernail, the Irukandji jellyfish doesn't seem like much of a threat. But this transparent jelly, found in the waters of northern Australia, causes one of the most bizarre and intense physical reactions known to science, a condition so overwhelming it's been given its own name: Irukandji syndrome. Victims of a sting often don't feel it at first, but within 20 to 40 minutes, a wave of symptoms begins. Full body pain, nausea, sweating, racing heart, and most notably, an overwhelming sense of doom. Not fear, a psychological certainty that something terrible is about to happen. That's not just panic. That's the venom directly affecting the nervous system and brain chemistry. The jellyfish itself is barely visible. Its body is nearly transparent, and its tentacles stretch out like threads in the water, invisible to swimmers. That's part of what makes it so dangerous it can sting before anyone even sees it. What's even more fascinating is that scientists still don't fully understand how the venom produces such extreme mental and physical effects. Unlike other jellyfish venom, Irukandji toxins seem to tap into neurological pathways that create both pain and deep psychological responses. Despite its power, the jellyfish isn't aggressive. It drifts along with ocean currents, no faster than sea foam. But once it stings, the results are anything but subtle. If this creature were a plot device in a sci-fi film, it'd be the invisible force that causes chaos without leaving a trace. The platypus is already one of the strangest animals on Earth. It has the bill of a duck, the tail of a beaver, webbed feet, and it lays eggs despite being a mammal. But here's what most people don't know: it's venomous. The male platypus has sharp spurs on its hind legs that deliver venom strong enough to cause excruciating pain in humans. The sting doesn't kill, but it's been described as one of the most intense pains imaginable, swelling that lasts for days, followed by pain that can linger for weeks. Even strong painkillers don't always help. What's even more unusual is that only males produce the venom, and mainly during mating season. Scientists believe it's used to fight off rivals rather than hunt. The venom contains unique peptides that are still being analyzed for possible medical applications, including pain relief and infection control. Found only in Australia, the platypus spends much of its life underwater, hunting insects and crustaceans with its sensitive bill. It uses electroreception, the ability to detect tiny electric signals to locate prey in muddy water. No other mammal does this. With all its odd features, the platypus sometimes seems like a joke pulled by nature. But behind the quirky appearance is a sophisticated and finely tuned survivor, one that happens to be hiding a weapon in its leg. If animals were action figures, the platypus would come with unexpected bonus features, cute on the outside, full of surprises underneath. This thing looks like a floating ghost. Almost invisible in the water, with long trailing tentacles and a bell-shaped body as clear as glass. But the box jellyfish isn't just some delicate ocean wanderer. It's one of the most venomous creatures alive, and it doesn't need to chase you. You come to it. Found mostly in warm coastal waters of the Indo-Pacific, especially around northern Australia. The box jellyfish has a reputation that even sharks respect. What makes it terrifying isn't just the venom, it's how fast that venom works. Within seconds, it starts attacking the heart, nervous system, and skin. The pain is immediate and intense. Swimmers who've brushed against those tentacles describe it as being burned and shocked at the same time. Some even panic and lose consciousness in the water, that's how strong the sting is. Each box jellyfish has up to 60 tentacles, and they can reach almost 10 feet long. Lined with millions of tiny harpoons called nematocysts, they're triggered by the slightest touch. And here's the twist: this jellyfish can actually see you. It has 24 eyes grouped into clusters, and they're surprisingly complex for an animal with no brain. It doesn't float aimlessly. It moves with purpose, steering through shallow waters, sometimes near shorelines. There's no anti-venom that reverses the effects completely. Vinegar is often used to stop the venom from spreading further, and researchers have developed protective suits for divers and swimmers in high-risk areas. Locals know to shuffle their feet when walking in shallow water to avoid brushing into one. Despite its deadly ability, the box jellyfish is still being studied. Scientists are trying to understand how its venom works so fast and so specifically. Its tentacles can kill fish instantly, yet the jellyfish uses them with precision. It's not chaos, it's targeted. And for all the research, there's still no clear answer to how such a simple creature can deliver such complex biological effects. This is not your average creepy crawly. The giant centipede, known scientifically as Scolopendra gigantea, looks like it walked straight out of a horror movie, and it kind of did. Found in parts of South America and the Caribbean, this massive predator can grow over a foot long, and comes equipped with dozens of sharp legs, each tipped with hooks that help it grip its prey like a living grappling machine. And here's where it gets wild: this centipede hunts vertebrates. Not bugs, not worms. We're talking mice, frogs, lizards, even small birds and bats. It climbs cave walls to snatch prey mid-flight. What makes it so dangerous is its venom. Delivered through modified legs called forcipules, the venom quickly overwhelms the nervous system, paralyzing the target before it's devoured. This is pure muscle and venom in one slippery, armored body. It doesn't just inject poison, it holds on with terrifying strength, wrapping around its catch like a clamp. Scientists have studied its bite and found that the venom contains a complex cocktail of toxins that attack both nerve and muscle function. While not typically fatal to humans, the sting is extremely painful, often described as burning, stabbing, and cramping all at once. Even tough predators think twice before messing with it. The centipede's armor-like body and aggressive behavior make it a survivor. It's not afraid to defend itself, and yes, it's fast. Faster than you'd expect from something that slithers across the forest floor with dozens of twitching legs. This creature is a real-world version of something you'd expect to see in a sci-fi series like Stranger Things. It doesn't just exist, it thrives. And it reminds us that venom isn't limited to snakes and jellyfish. Sometimes it comes crawling. The inland taipan has the deadliest venom of any snake on Earth, but chances are you'll never meet one. This highly reclusive serpent lives in the remote, arid zones of Central Australia, far from towns and cities. It's shy, calm, and wants nothing to do with you. But if it did bite, the venom could end a life in under an hour. Just one bite from the inland taipan contains enough neurotoxin and myotoxin to kill dozens of humans. Its venom works with incredible efficiency, shutting down nerves, damaging muscles, and wrecking blood clotting systems. The effect is so fast and so severe that it has become the gold standard in venom research. Yet, despite its power, the inland taipan is not aggressive. It avoids confrontation, and almost no bites occur in the wild. In fact, nearly every recorded bite happened in controlled environments with professional handlers. This snake doesn't want to fight, it just wants to live. Its body is a dusty olive brown, blending perfectly with the dry clay and cracking soil of its desert home. And it's not just its venom that's efficient, the snake itself is a precision predator. It delivers multiple strikes in a flash, then waits while the venom does its work. What's most fascinating is how this snake evolved to be so toxic without being a threat to humans. Scientists still study how its venom interacts with different systems in the body. It's a biological weapon honed to perfection, yet wielded with restraint. It's like the mythical sword locked in a vault, unmatched in danger, rarely seen, and best left undisturbed. Don't let the colorful shell fool you. Cone snails are some of the most venomous creatures in the ocean, and they come armed. These marine snails, found in tropical waters around coral reefs, use a hollow tooth like a microscopic harpoon to inject venom. And when it hits hard. Each species of cone snail has a slightly different blend of toxins, but some, like Conus geographus, carry venom so potent it can shut down a person's entire nervous system. The harpoon tooth shoots out fast, almost like a dart, and once it hits, the snail reels the prey and using the same hollow needle paralyzing small fish, worms, or other snails within seconds. They move slowly like any snail would, but their hunting method is high-tech. One sting is enough to cause paralysis, respiratory failure, or worse, and there's no antivenom. Scientists call the venom conotoxin, and it's so powerful that researchers are studying it for use in developing new types of non-addictive pain relief. The shell itself is a collector's dream, patterned, vibrant, and perfect for display, but that beauty hides one of the most advanced biological weapons ever found in a mollusk. There have been real cases where beachgoers picked up cone snails, not knowing what they were handling, and ended up in critical condition. Cone snails don't chase or fight, they just sit and wait, like a sniper, calm, quiet, and lethal. It's the kind of creature that makes you rethink what danger in the ocean really looks like. It's small enough to sit on your palm. It doesn't move fast. And it doesn't look threatening unless you see those bright blue rings flashing across its skin. That's the warning sign, and you better take it seriously. The blue-ringed octopus, found in tide pools and coral reefs from Japan to Australia, is one of the most venomous animals in the sea. Its bite delivers a neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin, the same deadly compound found in pufferfish. The venom works by blocking nerve signals, causing muscle paralysis. Within minutes, it can lead to numbness, difficulty breathing, and in the most extreme cases, complete paralysis. Here's the catch: the bite is often painless. People sometimes don't even know they've been stung until symptoms start creeping in. What makes this octopus so incredible is how it hunts. It uses its venom to take down small crabs, shrimp, and even fish, paralyzing them instantly. Unlike many predators, it doesn't need strength or speed. It just grabs, bites, and waits. Its glowing blue rings aren't just for show, they're a built-in warning system, pulsing when the animal feels threatened. This is nature's version of a flashing hazard light. And yet, many swimmers and divers mistake it for a harmless creature and try to pick it up. Despite all this, the blue-ringed octopus isn't aggressive. It's shy, hides in crevices, and only flashes its rings when it feels cornered. But when it does strike, it reminds everyone that even the smallest creature can carry a massive punch. If this were a Marvel character, it'd be the one you never saw coming until it was too late. Tiny, mysterious, and almost unfairly powerful. Step on a rock in the shallows and you might just meet the most venomous fish in the world. The stonefish doesn't look like a predator. It looks like, well, a stone. With a body covered in bumps and algae-colored skin, it hides perfectly on the ocean floor, blending in with the sand, coral, and debris. But if you get too close or worse, step on it, you're in trouble. Lining its back are 13 sharp spines, each connected to venom glands. When pressure is applied, like from a human foot, the spines shoot up and inject a powerful toxin that causes intense pain and swelling. Some stings have led to serious medical emergencies. In rare cases, if untreated, it can escalate into a life-threatening situation. What really sets the stonefish apart is how hard it is to detect. Even experienced divers can miss it. It doesn't swim around looking for trouble. It lies in wait, still as stone, ambushing small fish and crustaceans with lightning-fast strikes. To defend against it, some coastal areas have developed protective footwear for swimmers, and hospitals near stonefish habitats often keep anti-venom on hand. Locals in high-risk areas learn quickly to shuffle their feet instead of stepping down to avoid pressing on anything that might suddenly sting. Scientists are still breaking down how the venom works so quickly and affects so many systems at once: heart, nerves, muscles. For such a slow, unassuming creature, it delivers a venom that's anything but lazy. This spider doesn't spin webs. It doesn't wait patiently in a corner. It wanders, hence the name, and it brings its venom with it. The Brazilian wandering spider is one of the most feared arachnids on the planet, not just for its size or aggression, but for what its bite can do. Found in South and Central America, this spider roams the forest floor at night, hunting insects, frogs, and even small rodents. It's not shy, it'll stand its ground when threatened, lifting its front legs in a defensive pose that's almost theatrical. And behind that show is one of the most potent venoms of any spider known. Its venom contains a neurotoxin that affects the nervous system, causing muscle spasms, breathing difficulty, and in some cases, temporary paralysis. What makes it so unusual and widely discussed is one specific side effect. It causes prolonged and painful side reactions in adult humans. So much so that it's been studied for use in medical research related to blood flow. The spider is large, fast, and often hides in places like shoes, piles of clothes, and even banana crates, earning it the nickname banana spider in some regions. But despite its fearsome reputation, serious bites are extremely rare. The spider usually delivers a warning bite with little venom, preferring to flee when possible. Scientists are fascinated by how the venom works. It's complex, affecting both the nervous and vascular systems. And while it's dangerous, it's also full of potential for future medicines. That's the strange duality of the Brazilian wandering spider. It terrifies, but it also inspires. If villains in superhero films were based on real animals, this spider would already have its own movie. The king cobra doesn't just look like royalty, it acts like it. Reaching up to 18 feet in length, it's the world's longest venomous snake and one of the most respected predators in the animal kingdom. When it raises its head, spreads its hood, and hisses loud enough to vibrate the air, most creatures, humans included, get the message: step back. But the king cobra isn't just about show. Its venom contains a powerful neurotoxin that shuts down the body's communication system. Nerves stop firing, muscles fail, and breathing can become nearly impossible. What makes this snake even more dangerous is the sheer volume of venom it can inject. A single bite delivers enough to take down an elephant-sized threat or several grown humans. Despite all this, the king cobra doesn't want conflict. It avoids populated areas and spends most of its life deep in forests, often in Southeast Asia. Its diet is just as elite as the name suggests. It prefers to eat other snakes, including venomous ones. That's right, this snake hunts snakes. And here's a twist: it's one of the few snakes that builds a nest. The female coils around her eggs, guarding them until they hatch, showing a level of care rarely seen in reptiles. The king cobra is more than a venomous reptile. It's a symbol of precision, power, and primal fear. Scientists continue to study its venom not just for its danger, but for its potential in creating medicines that affect pain and brain function. If nature had a throne room, this creature would be guarding it tall, unblinking, and absolutely in control. The pufferfish might look like a cartoon character: big eyes, round body, slow movements, but inside, it hides one of the most lethal toxins in the natural world. Known as tetrodotoxin, this venom is so potent that even a dose smaller than a pinhead can shut down the human nervous system. What's wild is that despite this danger, pufferfish are considered a delicacy in some cultures, especially in Japan, where specially trained chefs prepare the dish called fugu. These chefs train for years just to learn how to remove the poisonous parts safely, because one wrong cut, and the meal becomes a medical emergency. The toxin isn't produced by the fish itself, but by bacteria that live inside it. And unlike other venomous creatures that use their toxins for hunting, pufferfish rely on theirs for defense. When threatened, they inflate into a spiky ball, their final warning. There's no known antidote for tetrodotoxin. Treatment involves supporting breathing and heart function while the body tries to recover on its own. That's why the preparation of pufferfish is so tightly regulated, and why only certified chefs are allowed to serve it legally. Pufferfish are found all over the world, mostly in tropical and subtropical oceans, but some even live in freshwater. They come in all sizes, from small enough to fit in your palm to nearly 2 feet long. It's a creature that dares nature itself cute, slow-moving, but secretly armed with one of the deadliest cocktails in the animal kingdom. It's no bigger than a grape, but its colors are electric neon blue, blazing yellow, blood red. The poison dart frog doesn't hide. It advertises. Those vivid patterns are nature's warning sign. Touch me, and you'll regret it. Found hopping through the damp leaf litter of the Amazon, these frogs carry some of the most potent toxins known to science. The golden poison frog, in particular, has enough chemical power in its skin to seriously harm dozens of predators. What's shocking is how it got that way. These frogs don't produce poison on their own, they absorb it through their diet, feeding on toxic ants and beetles in the wild. The toxin, known as batrachotoxin, affects nerves and muscles. It doesn't burn or sting, it short-circuits the body's control system. Thankfully, frogs raised in captivity lose their toxicity. But in the wild, they're loaded. Indigenous people have long used the frog's secret for hunting. They gently rub the tips of darts along the frog's back, turning ordinary blowgun projectiles into jungle weapons with silent stopping power. But not all poison dart frogs are deadly. Out of more than 170 species, only a few carry enough punch to be dangerous. Still, their colors are unmistakable. Scientists call it aposematic coloration, a built-in warning label that says, "You don't want to mess with me." Despite their small size and delicate look, these frogs are survivors. They raise their young in tiny pools of water collected in leaves, protect their eggs, and even feed tadpoles with unfertilized eggs. In the world of Amazon predators, the poison dart frog is an unexpected standout. Not because of size or strength, but because of how lethal something so small and beautiful can be. High above the jungle floor where the sun filters through the thick canopy, the harpy eagle waits. It's not a common sight. These raptors are elusive, but when it appears, it commands absolute attention. With a wingspan stretching up to 7 feet and legs as thick as a human wrist, the harpy eagle isn't just big. It's a heavyweight hunter armed with some of the strongest talons in the bird world. It hunts monkeys, sloths, iguanas, and even large birds, plucking them from trees with a lightning-fast dive. It can see prey from over 200 feet away and flies nearly silently despite its size. Those talons, each one is roughly the size of a grizzly bear's claw, and they grip with enough force to crush bone. Pop culture fans might recognize the harpy eagle from fantasy video games or animated series with its feathered crown and fierce stare. It looks almost too mythical to be real. But this predator is no fantasy. It's a real guardian of the skies and one of the Amazon's most skilled killers. It's nearly invisible in the water, no longer than a matchstick, but the candiru has sparked more fear than fish 10 times its size. A parasitic catfish, the candiru usually targets the gills of larger fish, latching on and feeding on blood. But what's made it infamous is its alleged attraction to human orifices, a claim that's been exaggerated over the years, but not entirely myth. Though actual cases are vanishingly rare, the candiru's needle-like shape and stealthy swimming make it the stuff of campfire horror stories. It reacts to chemical trails in the water, and once it finds a host, it anchors itself with spines and feeds in a way that's incredibly hard to remove. Locals know better than to wade into certain stretches of water without protection. And researchers? They approach the candiru with careful respect. It's not a predator in the traditional sense, but its parasitic methods are enough to keep it on this list of the Amazon's most unsettling creatures. It doesn't look like much a strange, shield-shaped insect crawling along the underbrush. But the assassin bug lives up to its name with brutal efficiency. It uses a sharp, needle-like mouthpart to stab its prey, and inject a cocktail of enzymes that liquefy the victim's insides. The bug then slurps up the soup-like remains, leaving behind nothing but an empty shell. Found throughout the Amazon, these bugs take down everything from caterpillars to spiders. Some species even carry the hollowed-out remains of their past kills on their back, as camouflage, a morbid disguise that doubles as protection. Not all assassin bugs are dangerous to humans, but some species can transmit Chagas disease, a serious illness carried by the so-called kissing bug variety. Again, bites are rare, but the risk is real enough to keep your hammock zipped and your sleeping bag sealed. Above your head, tangled in vines and tree branches, the Amazonian tree boa waits. This snake isn't enormous like the anaconda, but it's an expert at stealth. Coiled tightly on a branch, it blends perfectly into the forest's texture, striking with lightning speed at anything that comes too close. It's a constrictor, no venom, just pure muscle. The tree boa grabs birds, bats, and tree-dwelling rodents mid-movement, wraps around them in an instant, and tightens until the struggle ends. Then it swallows its meal whole and retreats back into the green. What makes this species especially interesting is its color variation. Some are deep red, others almost golden, and some take on a mossy green hue that makes them disappear into the canopy. They're not dangerous to humans, but the speed and power they show in the treetops are incredible. If you're ever hiking in the Amazon and feel like something's watching you from above, it just might be this silent hunter. Deep in the muddy waters of the Amazon basin, something moves like a shadow beneath the surface. Silent, heavy, watching. This is the green anaconda, a reptilian titan, and the heaviest snake on the planet. While it may not hold the record for the absolute longest, the sheer bulk of this serpent is enough to turn the Amazon River into its personal hunting ground. Anacondas can reach over 20 feet in length and weigh more than 500 pounds. Their olive green skin, patterned with black ovals, blends seamlessly with the riverbanks and flooded forests. And they know how to use that camouflage. They don't chase, they wait. Motionless, with just their eyes and nostrils above water, they strike with explosive speed when prey wanders too close. And their menu? It's no small buffet. Capybaras, caimans, birds, turtles, even wild pigs, all are fair game. Once wrapped in those powerful coils, escape is impossible. The anaconda doesn't crush its prey like a mythic monster. It constricts with pressure that cuts off circulation and air in seconds. Then comes the swallow. Head first, whole, slow. The snake unhinges its jaws, stretches its skin, and devours meals that look far too large to fit. Despite their reputation, attacks on people are extremely rare. These snakes are shy by nature, and when they sense trouble, they slip beneath the water and vanish like smoke. Still, local legends tell of something far more terrifying. In the lore of the jungle, there's talk of the Yakumama, a snake said to be 100 feet long, with the power to swallow boats. While no scientific evidence confirms its existence, tales of this water beast persist in villages all along the Amazon. Some even claim to have seen its ripples slicing across quiet waters at dawn. The green anaconda is more than just muscle and myth. It plays a vital role in the Amazon's ecosystem, a top-tier predator that keeps populations in balance. Yet it's also a creature under threat, with deforestation shrinking its habitat and illegal wildlife trade always lurking. Still, in the flooded forests and winding rivers, the anaconda remains a ghost too strong to ignore, too quiet to catch, and always right where you don't expect it. At first glance, the giant otter looks almost comical, long whiskers, round eyes, and playful squeaks echoing across the Amazon's backwaters. But behind that charming face lies one of the rainforest's most coordinated and ruthless predators. Stretching up to 6 feet long and armed with a jaw full of sharp teeth, the giant otter is anything but gentle when it enters hunting mode. These creatures live in tight-knit family groups, often up to 10 members strong, and they hunt together like a military unit. Their strategy, communication, timing. In just seconds, they can corner fish, chase down snakes, and even team up to take on prey larger than themselves. In one-on-one fights, they've been known to go after caimans and win. It's not brute strength alone that makes them deadly. It's the way they think and work as a team. Their vocal range is one of the widest in the animal kingdom, with over 20 distinct sounds. They whistle, bark, scream, and chirp, a constant stream of chatter that keeps the group in sync as they patrol their watery territory. And they do guard it fiercely. When intruders come too close, these otters don't back down. They bare their teeth, puff up their bodies, and charge with no hesitation. What sets them apart isn't just their power or speed, but their intelligence. They memorize the river like a map, remember feeding spots, and know how to use the current. They'll ambush from behind logs, dive under prey, or work in a circle to trap fish. It's surgical. Despite their dominance, giant otters are under serious pressure. Habitat destruction, illegal gold mining, and water pollution have slashed their numbers. In some parts of the Amazon, they've vanished completely. But where the waters run clear and the forest still holds, the river wolves, as locals call them, still hunt with eerie precision. They may look like something out of a cartoon, but once you've seen a pack take down a full-grown fish in under 30 seconds, it's clear. This is no cuddly animal. It's one of the rainforest's most skilled killers, and it's not afraid to show it. In the darkest corners of the Amazon's slow-moving waters, where moonlight barely touches the surface, something ancient lurks. The black caiman, a living relic and the undisputed ruler of the river. It's not just big, it's colossal. Adult males can stretch over 15 feet long, and there are whispered stories of giants pushing past 20. Their armored skin is jet black, their eyes glow like embers in the dark, and their bite can crack bone like twigs. While they may look like their more famous cousins, black caimans are in a class of their own. Unlike the American alligator or Nile crocodile, they prefer the murky isolation of deep Amazonian lakes and slow rivers, hunting by night and moving in silence. Their jaws are built for ambush. Once they lock onto a target, be it a capybara, a deer, or even a fellow predator, there's no escape. One strike, one death roll. It's over. But what makes the black caiman truly fearsome isn't just its size or bite. It's the aura. Locals treat these animals with intense respect. In the indigenous communities, it's said that if you stare into a caiman's eyes, it can see your spirit. Whether that's legend or not, one thing is certain in waters where a black caiman swims. Everything else stays on edge. Young caimans are born into danger. Birds, snakes, and even their own kind prey on them. But those that survive grow fast. And once they reach adulthood, there are few things in the Amazon that can challenge them. Even jaguars tread carefully near caiman-infested lagoons. Like many apex predators, black caimans help keep the ecosystem in balance. They remove the sick, keep prey populations from exploding, and act as a barometer of the forest's health. But they've had their own battles decades ago. They were hunted to near extinction for their skin. Protected status and conservation have helped them rebound, but in some areas they're still incredibly rare. Today they reign once again as quiet kings of the dark waters. You won't see them coming. You won't hear them move. But if you're in their domain, they'll know you're there. Beneath the surface of the Amazon's still waters lurks a creature that doesn't bite or strike at shocks. The electric eel, long and sleek like a water serpent, can unleash electric pulses powerful enough to knock a horse off its feet. Despite its name, it's not a true eel, but a type of knife fish, one that packs a jolt strong enough to stop a predator in its tracks. It uses specialized organs along its body to generate electricity. One set controls navigation and communication, sending low-voltage signals like a radar. But when it hunts or feels threatened, it fires up the high-voltage system, delivering blasts of up to 600 volts. It's like holding on to a live wire in the middle of the jungle. Electric eels can grow over 8 feet long and weigh around 45 pounds. They often rise to the surface to gulp air. They breathe atmospheric oxygen more than water. This means they can survive in murky, oxygen-poor ponds and flooded forests where few other predators dare to go. Their hunting strategy is pure precision. They use electric fields to sense prey in total darkness, then launch a double pulse that stuns and disorients. Fish freeze, frogs float. Even small mammals trying to escape through shallow water can be stopped mid-sprint. In one fascinating behavior, electric eels have been observed curling their bodies into a U-shape, sandwiching prey between the head and tail to intensify the shock. Scientists compare this move to a biological taser that leaves nothing standing. Though they rarely interact with people, stepping into their habitat barefoot or accidentally catching one can end badly. There are records of multiple shocks leading to drowning, though fatalities are exceedingly rare. They're one of the Amazon's strangest and most dangerous predators, not because of teeth or venom, but because they carry a weapon no other fish on Earth does. Electricity, weaponized and perfected. There's no warning, just a rustle in the canopy, a flicker of dappled shadow, and then nothing. The jaguar doesn't need to chase, it ambushes, and when it strikes, it goes straight for the skull. Unlike big cats elsewhere, the jaguar's bite is designed to pierce bone. Turtles, caimans, and even the thickest skulls of prey animals fall to its jaws with chilling ease. As the largest big cat in the Americas and the third largest in the world, the jaguar rules the Amazon rainforest like a phantom. Stocky and muscular, it can weigh up to 250 pounds and leap with shocking force. Its name comes from the indigenous word yaguarete, he who kills with one leap. They roam alone, covering wide territories and often swimming across rivers in search of prey. Yes, jaguars are swimmers, strong ones. They'll glide silently through flooded forests, ambushing animals at the edge of the water. Capybaras, deer, monkeys, turtles, nothing is truly safe once a jaguar sets its sights. Their rosette-dotted coats melt into the jungle's palette of green and gold. making them nearly invisible even just feet away. And unlike lions or leopards, they hunt mostly at dawn or dusk when the light plays tricks and shadows rule the forest floor. One thing that sets jaguars apart from other cats is their kill technique. While most go for the throat, jaguars go for the skull. They bite directly through it, aiming for the brain, a quick and efficient end for the prey. It's not just power, it's precision. In pop culture, the jaguar has appeared as a symbol of stealth and elegance, even showing up in action games and jungle-based thrillers. But here in the real world, it's more than a symbol. It's a living force of nature, beautiful, elusive, and perfectly designed to rule the rainforest. Sharp-toothed and fast, the piranha has earned a fearsome reputation, and while Hollywood exaggerates, the real story is intense enough. With jaws like scissors and teeth sharp enough to shear flesh, piranhas are among the Amazon's most effective predators. But their danger comes not from one, it comes from the group. Red-bellied piranhas, the most notorious of the species, roam the rivers in schools that sometimes number in the hundreds. They're fast, aggressive, and always alert. When the group gets triggered, whether by splashing, blood, or sudden movement, they go into what researchers call feeding frenzy. In those moments, prey can be stripped to the bone in minutes. What triggers the frenzy? It's not madness, it's strategy. Piranhas are incredibly responsive to each other's movements. When one strikes, the others follow. That chain reaction is what makes them terrifying. Not the strength of one bite, but the speed of many. Despite their image, piranhas mostly eat fish, insects, and the occasional plant. In fact, some species are nearly vegetarian. But when water levels drop and food gets scarce, things change. That's when they switch into survival mode, and that's when accidents happen, livestock caught in the river, a wounded animal drifting downstream. Their teeth are perfectly shaped for cutting, with interlocking edges that form a razor-sharp line. Fishermen in Brazil often keep piranha jaws as tools that are that precise. Even so, attacks on people are extremely rare and almost always non-fatal. Still, no one wants to be in the water when a frenzy starts. The river may look calm, but when piranhas are near, silence can turn into chaos in a flash. In the hills of northern India more than a century ago, locals whispered about a striped shadow moving through the forests. They didn't call her a tiger. They called her a demon. She didn't run from humans, she hunted them, and she did it with terrifying precision. This was the Champawat tiger, a Bengal tigress responsible for the highest number of human attacks ever recorded. Officially, she was blamed for 436 confirmed deaths, though the real number may have been even higher. Her reign of terror stretched across Nepal and India, as she moved from village to village, always staying just out of reach. What made her so deadly? After being wounded by a hunter in Nepal, her jaw was damaged, badly. She could no longer hunt deer or wild boar the way most tigers do, so she turned to something slower, easier, people. And once she made that switch, she became unstoppable. Locals tried everything to drive her off. Fires, drums, armed escorts, nothing worked. She moved silently, struck quickly, and vanished before anyone could react. Some said she knew the land better than the villagers who lived there. She avoided traps, outwitted hunters, and even changed her patterns to dodge patrols. Her attacks weren't just common, they became a daily fear. People stopped farming. Schools shut down. Entire communities lived indoors praying she wouldn't return. Her footsteps left trails in rice paddies and muddy paths, always heading toward the next settlement. It took a legendary hunter named Jim Corbett to stop her. He didn't use a large hunting party. He went out alone, tracking her for days. When he finally found her, it was a game of nerves. One mistake, and he'd be the next victim. But Corbett succeeded, ending a nightmare that had gone on for years. After her death, officials examined her body. Her broken canines confirmed the theory. She hadn't chosen humans out of preference. She had no other choice. That's the part that chills people even now. A wounded animal, pushed to the edge, turned into one of the most efficient and feared hunters in history. Today, the skull of the Champawat tiger still exists. It sits in a museum in India, silent and cracked. But in the forests where she once ruled, the stories are still alive. Not because of the number, but because of how long she outsmarted everyone who tried to stop her. There's a place off the coast of Brazil so dangerous, it's illegal to set foot on it without military clearance. The name says it all, Ilha da Queimada Grande. But most people know it by its more fitting nickname, Snake Island. This rocky, jungle-covered island is home to the golden lancehead pit viper, one of the most venomous snakes on Earth. They're everywhere. Estimates suggest one snake per square meter in some areas. It's like walking through a minefield made of fangs. These vipers evolved in isolation for thousands of years. Without natural predators or large prey, they developed a venom that acts ridiculously fast, capable of melting flesh and shutting down the nervous system. A single bite can cause massive internal bleeding, kidney failure, and death in less than an hour. There are stories half official, half legend of a lighthouse keeper and his family who once lived there, only to vanish without a trace, leaving the building to rot and vines to creep over the walls. Today, even researchers who visit must wear thick boots, gloves, and carry anti-venom. While walking carefully, very carefully, the golden lancehead can strike with lightning speed and doesn't always need to see its target, it tracks by heat. That means anything warm-blooded, from a bird to a careless explorer, is fair game. Snake Island has no beaches, no safe trails, and no mercy. It's a place where the ecosystem was allowed to grow wild and unchecked, and it built itself entirely out of danger. There are islands you visit for beauty. This one you admire from a boat, and pray the wind doesn't push you too close to shore. In the lush tea-growing hills of Assam, India, where fog settles over green fields and roads twist through dense forest, an elephant once held an entire region hostage. Nicknamed the Elephant of Doom by villagers, this single tusker was blamed for over 500 deaths across 2 decades. He wasn't part of a herd, he traveled alone. And he moved between settlements, silently, often striking at night, flattening homes, overturning trucks, and vanishing back into the jungle before sunrise. What turned him rogue is still debated. Some say it was habitat loss. Others point to early trauma, possibly from illegal ivory hunters or land encroachment. Whatever the cause, this elephant developed a level of aggression few had ever seen. Locals began to recognize him by his torn ear and massive size. He would knock down fences and chase people for miles, showing a persistence rarely documented in elephant behavior. He learned to avoid traps, rerouted paths to avoid watchtowers, and showed up in places no one expected, sometimes over 50 miles apart within days. The government eventually launched a manhunt, assigning wildlife officers and armed teams to track and tranquilize him. But the forest in Assam is vast, and the elephant seemed to sense danger before it arrived. Over the years, the attacks only grew more erratic and bold. In the end, officials were forced to put him down, a decision that sparked emotional responses nationwide. Many saw him as a monster. Others saw him as a symbol of nature pushed too far. In 1898, as the British Empire stretched its fingers across East Africa, construction began on a railway bridge over the Savo River in Kenya. Progress was swift until the lions came. For 9 months, 2 male lions, maneless and enormous, stalked the labor camps. They dragged victims from tents at night, tore through thorn barriers, and terrorized the workers so badly that construction came to a full stop. Over 130 people vanished during their reign, according to eyewitnesses. Even the most conservative counts confirmed dozens of attacks. These lions were different. They didn't fear fire, they didn't avoid noise, they worked together with chilling coordination. Guards tried staying up with rifles, but the lions simply found new ways to get in, often leaping over barriers or digging under them. Colonel John Henry Patterson, the bridge's overseer, became obsessed with stopping them. He laid traps, built elevated platforms, and waited for weeks. After multiple close calls, he eventually shot both lions, but only after nearly being killed himself. When their bodies were examined, it turned out one lion had severe dental damage, which may have made hunting wild prey painful. Like the Champawat tiger, necessity may have driven the pair to target humans. Their skulls and skins now sit in the Field Museum in Chicago, but their legend still roams the Tsavo Plains. These weren't just animals. They became ghosts of the night, too, predators smart enough to hold up an empire's railway and bold enough to keep the world watching over a century later. In the muddy waters of Burundi's Ruzizi River and Lake Tanganyika, people speak of a creature that doesn't belong to this time. A crocodile so massive, so cunning, and so aggressive that entire villages have evacuated just to avoid him. His name is Gustave. Estimated to be over 20 feet long and weigh nearly a ton, Gustave is not just a crocodile, he's a legend. Locals claim he has killed over 300 people across decades. And though some dismiss the number as myth, researchers tracking him have verified dozens of victims. What makes Gustave so terrifying isn't just his size, it's the fact that he's survived everything thrown at him. Hunters have tried to kill him. Bullets have been found lodged in his hide. Massive steel traps have been deployed and destroyed. Cameras set to catch him end up submerged or shredded. He's recognizable by the bullet scars, a missing tooth, and the sheer size of his body. When he surfaces, people say it looks like a small boat rising from the depths. And when he hunts, he doesn't go for fish. He takes on large mammals, antelope, zebras, even hippos on occasion. In 2004, a French film crew spent months trying to capture Gustave for a documentary. They baited him, they followed his trail, they filmed his shadows, but they never caught him. To this day, Gustave has never been captured. He remains a ghost in the reeds, old, scarred, and likely even bigger than before. Some think he's gone. Others believe he's still out there, waiting under the surface. And when the water ripples near the banks of the Ruzizi, people still pause. Because if Gustave is nearby, it's not just fear, it's instinct. You don't see him coming, you just don't come back. High in the misty foothills of the Himalayas, a predator once haunted the sacred pilgrimage routes of Rudraprayag in northern India. This wasn't a tiger or a pack of wolves. It was a leopard, solitary, silent, and shockingly precise. From 1918 to 1926, the leopard of Rudraprayag was blamed for over 125 attacks, often slipping into villages at night and vanishing before sunrise. No one could catch it. Locals built barricades, set traps, and hired guards. Nothing worked. The leopard always found a way in and out. Unlike others of its kind, it didn't hunt in forests. It hunted in doorways, temples, even stairwells. Some claimed it could pick locks or move through stone walls. The fear grew so intense that entire villages relocated or abandoned their homes. Eventually, Jim Corbett, already famous for tracking man-eaters, was called in. It took him 8 weeks, multiple decoys, and a dangerous stakeout. When the shot finally came, the legend ended, but not the mystery. No one's sure what turned this leopard into such a focused predator. Some blame a nearby epidemic that made it associate humans with easy prey. Whatever the cause, the leopard of Rudraprayag remains one of the most elusive and terrifying hunters in history. In the flooded forests and murky rivers of the Amazon, there's a reptile that doesn't get the same headlines as anaconda or piranha, but it should. The black caiman is the largest predator in the Amazon basin, and when full grown, it can stretch over 20 feet long. That's longer than most great white sharks. These giants have powerful jaws, pitch-black scales that blend perfectly with the night water, and a hunting style built entirely around stealth. And in some remote regions, they've become the top threat to locals living near the riverbanks. Entire villages in Brazil and Peru have reported periods where people stopped using the river altogether. No fishing, no swimming, no bathing, because of one massive caiman that staked out the area. These aren't isolated incidents. In certain zones near the Solimois River, attacks have been repeated and fatal. Some animals become so comfortable around people that they start ambushing dugout canoes and even waiting at the shoreline after dark. Black caimans are smart too. They often float silently for hours, eyes and nostrils just above the water. When they strike, it's fast and explosive. One documented case involved a caiman lunging 8 feet out of the water to grab a capybara standing on a log, snapping its jaws with such force it was heard over the sounds of the jungle. Despite being top-tier predators, black caimans were once hunted nearly to extinction. But since conservation efforts kicked in, their numbers have rebounded, especially in protected regions like Mamarawa Reserve. And with that comeback has come a new problem: territory clashes with humans. What makes black caimans especially dangerous is their ability to adapt. They can feed on fish for months, then suddenly switch to mammals. And once they grow to over 15 feet, few animals in the Amazon can challenge them. They're silent most of the time, but when they bellow, it sounds like thunder rolling through the trees. To villagers who hear that sound at night, it's a warning. Something ancient, armored, and absolutely deadly is watching. In the calm-looking waters of Lake Victoria, one crocodile gained a reputation so fearsome, locals gave him a name you don't forget: Osama. This wasn't a myth or exaggerated tale. He was real. He was tracked. He was seen. And he was blamed for over 80 confirmed attacks on people along the Luganga shoreline. For years, he reigned over the water, lurking just beneath the surface, striking fast, and disappearing like a ghost. Measuring over 16 feet long and weighing about a ton, Osama was unlike most crocodiles. He didn't avoid boats or humans, he actively hunted them. Fishermen vanished without a splash. Children washing clothes at the river's edge were pulled under silently. It got so bad that entire communities stopped using the water they relied on for survival. Crocodile attacks are often blamed on mistaken identity, splashing limbs mistaken for fish. But not Osama. Wildlife officials believed he targeted humans. His behavior was more than aggressive, it was strategic. After years of fear and failed attempts, the Uganda Wildlife Authority launched a special operation in 2005. With steel traps, baited cages, and a team of wildlife specialists, they finally caught him alive. Locals gathered by the hundreds to see the beast that had terrorized them for nearly a decade. Osama was relocated to Murchison Falls National Park, where he still lives behind heavy security. Tourists visit, guides point him out. But to those who knew what he was capable of, he's not just a big reptile in a fenced pond, he's the nightmare that once ruled the lake. Sloth bears don't look threatening at first glance. Shaggy fur, long claws, a walk that seems more like a wobble. But in 1957, near Mysore, India, one sloth bear rewrote everything people thought they knew about the species. For 2 years, villagers around the Nargund and Bidar districts lived in fear of a single bear that was nothing like its kind. It didn't retreat. It didn't hide. It attacked aggressively, repeatedly, and often without provocation. This wasn't just defensive behavior. This bear went after people in broad daylight, lunging at workers in fields, chasing people down dirt roads, and even entering villages. Over a dozen people were killed, and twice as many were mauled, many with faces torn or limbs severely injured. Unlike tigers or leopards, which go for a clean kill, sloth bears have a different strategy, one that's more terrifying. They stand upright, use their claws like daggers, and bite the face. It's fast, brutal, and unpredictable. Wildlife officials were at a loss. Local hunters tried and failed. The bear seemed to avoid traps and always struck in new locations. Eventually, the government called in Kenneth Anderson, a renowned tracker. He managed to locate and shoot the bear after a tense encounter that nearly ended with him being charged. Post-mortem examination of the bear revealed old injuries, possibly from an earlier encounter with poachers. Experts believed this pain and trauma turned the animal hostile toward anything that moved, especially humans. This case remains one of the most violent animal rampages in modern history. And while it was just one bear, it changed how locals view sloth bears forever. Behind the shaggy fur and slow gait can hide a force more aggressive than a tiger. In the dry forests of Hazaribagh, India, locals once feared something far more coordinated than a lone predator. This wasn't the work of a rogue tiger or a desperate leopard, it was wolves working as a pack. Between the late 1980s and early 1990s, a wave of attacks swept through this region. And while wolves are usually skittish around people, these weren't ordinary encounters. The wolves struck at dawn or dusk when visibility was low. They moved quietly, often circling their target before lunging in. People reported hearing nothing, just sudden movement, then silence. Wildlife officials were skeptical at first. Wolves were considered cautious scavengers, but the signs were unmistakable. Prints, claw marks, fur samples, and coordinated attacks that fit their hunting behavior perfectly. Researchers identified that this particular group had grown unusually bold due to habitat loss and lack of wild prey. With fewer deer or boar to feed on, they adapted fast. And unlike big cats, these wolves hunted in groups. One would distract, others would close in from behind. Local trackers observed them from a distance. The alpha was described as larger than usual, with a gray-black coat and an eerie fearlessness around villages. Some nights, villagers claimed to see glowing eyes on the outskirts watching, waiting. Eventually, forest rangers tracked the pack and relocated them farther into the wild. But the Hazaribagh wolves remain one of the rare documented cases of wolves actively hunting humans in the modern era. It wasn't madness, it wasn't a fluke, it was survival sharpened into something terrifying. In the heart of Ethiopia's capital, where skyscrapers rise and traffic buzzes around the clock, a different kind of predator prowls after sundown. Spotted hyenas, bold and organized, roam the edges of Addis Ababa, slipping between alleys, stalking garbage dumps, and sometimes venturing deep into urban neighborhoods. These aren't the scavengers of cartoons. Adult spotted hyenas can crush bone with their jaws, run up to 35 miles per hour, and hunt in highly intelligent packs. In the outskirts of Addis, they've adapted to human patterns, waiting for darkness, avoiding traffic, and learning where the food lies. Attacks on livestock are common, but what's more chilling are the cases where hyenas enter slums and attack sleeping people. Witnesses describe them as silent until the moment they strike, often targeting soft areas like the neck and face. Some locals now sleep in groups, keeping fires lit and posting informal lookouts. City officials acknowledge the problem but are stuck in a bind. Hyenas serve a strange ecological role. They clean up rotting waste, keep rat populations in check, and in rural areas, even act as deterrents against other predators. That balance becomes risky, though, when the line between wilderness and city begins to blur. Addis Ababa isn't alone. Similar incidents have been reported in Harar, where hyenas have become part of the cultural fabric, even fed by hand in tourist shows. But in the capital, where population density is high and nighttime security is low, the tension simmers. One thing is clear: when the lights go out, the city belongs to someone else. And in some corners, the only warning you'll get is a low whoop in the dark, just before it's too late. That's about it. What animal scared you the most? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.